How we understand the world is inherently tied to the way we frame each and everything we consider. The way that we categorize and describe the world has a profound impact on how we conceptualize it. Metaphors, in particular, are one means by which we build our conceptual systems. First, a few examples. Argument is war. Your claims are indefensible. He attacked every weak point in my argument. We see an argument as something to be won, and a whole score of warlike behaviors as natural within this structure. Time is money. You're wasting my time. This gadget will save you hours. Therefore, time is a resource and a commodity, because these concepts are linked within our culture. Linguistic expressions are containers for meaning. It's hard to get that idea across to him. Try to pack more thoughts into fewer words. His words carry little meaning. These concepts assume that words are single, discrete packets of information that are passed from one person to another, communicating clear and straightforward meanings. And lastly, happy is up, sad is down. Conscious is up, unconscious is down. More is up, less is down. Rational is up, emotional is down. Concepts such as these are related to space, stemming from people's experiences in the physical world. Our experiences of laying down to sleep and getting up from a nap, for example, create a physical bridge between the physical and the conceptual. Metaphors are complex creations, and there are a number of ways that we can use metaphors to transform our conceptual understandings. The mind is a brittle object. Her ego is very special. You have to handle him with care since his wife's death. In this example, the ontological metaphor gives the user the ability to talk about psychological strength in terms of physical strength. We can also personify objects, viewing the inanimate as a person. Inflation is an adversary. Our biggest enemy right now is inflation. In this way, such abstract ideas as inflation become concrete adversaries that can be described and combated. We can also simplify the complex through metonymy, referencing an entity as a limited quality of it. The part for the whole. If a waitress refers to a customer as the ham sandwich in the booth over there, it's metonymy. The face for the person. She's just a pretty face. Of course, one danger with metonymy is that it can dehumanize the person being described, taking away the whole of the person in favor of a single trait. Metaphors are more than just a colorful concept. They're actually a way in which the mind understands a particular concept. Understanding is seeing. Ideas are light sources. I see what you're saying. It looks different from my point of view. They are not just figures of speech, but an actual imagining of a concept. All of the drawings in this video, for example, are visualizations of metaphors. Metaphors are often a way of conceptualizing the complex and the abstract in a way that is defined by the physical. For example, abstract concepts of love, time, ideas, understanding, and happiness can be described by physical concepts such as physical orientation, location, objects, seeing, journey, or buildings. Our experience with the physical gives us the tools that we can use as a means of understanding and explaining these complex concepts. Metaphors can be described as understanding one thing in terms of another. In doing this, we bring a host of complex attached concepts into the metaphors. We still think of this as using the simple to describe the complex, but even the simplest of ideas are more complicated than they seem at first glance. Roche describes human categorizing as using prototypes, or idealized versions, in family resemblance. A robin may be a prototypical bird, while a chicken or a penguin has a family resemblance because they lack some fundamental requirement, but remain close enough that people often categorize them together. In a similar way, a conceptual gestalt can be defined as the complex of properties occurring together that is more basic to our experience than their separate occurrence. If you've ever attempted to help someone with a computer problem over the phone, no, click the other but wait, move your mouse up, I think it quickly becomes apparent how complicated the most simple of actions are, ones that we take for granted because we have built a simple model of the experience in our minds. Simple in practice, complex in reality. Experiential gestalts are a way people transform complex experiences into structured wholes. For example, a conversation can be defined as a type of gestalt, defined by components: the participants, speech patterns, and that natural pattern of alternating speakers, stages of starting through finishing, causation of who speaks and how, and the purpose of the interaction. So then, what is the difference between a conversation and an argument? The structure may remain the same, but now the participants, using the argument is war metaphor, are working towards a goal of victory, and have a new range of attacking and defending maneuvers that fit within this action. In this way, structural metaphors create similarities in our conceptual understandings that didn't exist outside of the metaphor. Of course, this means that metaphors that people use have a profound influence over their understandings of the world around them. People in power have the ability to impose their metaphors on others, such as the war on drugs, thereby defining the conceptual systems of those around them. So, is this concept of metaphors outlined by Lakoff and Johnson in their book Metaphors We Live By claiming that there is no such thing as objective truth? Is it claiming that everything is subjective? Not exactly. To explain why, let's delve into those definitions. Within Western scientific thought, objective thinking has historically been considered the highest level of rational thought. This is because, as the argument goes, in order to function effectively, people must be able to accurately understand and interact with the world around them. And yet, one criticism of objective thinking is that it attempts to decontextualize concepts from the complexity of reality, and thereby ignores the context that is inherent to our understanding. Subjective thinking, on the other hand, is conceptualized as being based in emotion and intuitiveness. Proponents of subjective thinking believe that subjectivity is worthwhile for housing the meaningful stuff of life, such as spirituality, morality, and artistic endeavors. Critics of subjectivity argue that this thinking is inherently personal and individualized, potentially sacrificing even the ability to communicate with others as all meaning becomes localized to the person using it. Lakoff and Johnson explain this fear of subjectivity and how it leads to a fear metaphor by saying, to use words metaphorically is to use them in an improper sense, to stir the imagination and thereby the emotions, and thus lead us away from the truth and towards illusion. Yet knowledge remains contextualized. People do use their existing understanding of the world as a means of coming to understand new and different things they encounter. We group items into categories and look for those metaphorical links in order to conceptualize and understand them. Our understanding is a social and experiential one. And so, in order to find a compromise between decontextualized objectivity and entirely individualized subjectivity, Lakoff and Johnson propose a third mentality, the experientialist synthesis. Thinking metaphorically isn't a matter of choosing emotion over rationality, they argue, but instead, metaphor is thus imaginative rationality. They continue, this does not mean that there are no truths. It means only that truth is relative to our conceptual system, which is grounded in, and constantly tested by, our experiences and those of other members of our culture in our daily interactions with other people and with our physical and cultural environments. Within this experiential synthesis model of thinking, metaphors are both a means of agency and types of mental structures, a way in which we seek to gain an understanding of the world, and a way in which we come to build our conceptions through ongoing negotiations with the world around us. Metaphors are the building, the rooms, the windows, and the foundation of our thinking. Metaphors are where we live.